You're listening to the Soju Sessions, episode 39 on the Soju Talk Nation podcast feed. I'm your host, Crispy, also known as Crispy Wonton, or simply just Anton. And on today's episode, Jocabb, moderator, Denmark enormously tall human being, joins the show to discuss YENA and BIBI. I think this is a great confluence of events, a great coming together of two of Jocabb's kind of favorite musicians, or at least musical acts within K-pop. You have the eyes one side of everything, with YENA being the loud, energetic, smiley, pardon the pun, side of things with K-pop. And then you have BIBI. Jocabb is an enormous fan of BIBI and her alluring, mysterious, very sensual side of K-pop, more on the K-R&B side, but definitely within the Korean entertainment sphere of influence. And kind of amazing that they're both great friends. And, it's kind of great to bring both of those conversations into the show this week. I think we did a nice job kind of bouncing off of each other and really just having fun with it. We kind of reflected on what the crew talked about this week, but really in the context of how the music came together and how entertainer appeal comes across and what that means for the general audience, as well as K-pop fans, as well as international fans, and kind of what that means from a broader scope of enjoying entertainment and kind of seeing the seeing entertainment on a bit of a deeper level, but also enjoying things that are on the surface and kind of what that means for this type of characterization and the character that both YENA and BIBI bring to K-pop. Coming up, my chat with Jocabb on the Soju Sessions. Joining Soju Sessions and making his return to the show, a very tall human being, a wood maker, a wood craftsman, if you will, an enormous Eyes One fan, enormous simp for BIBI. I too am a simp. Hello, hi, welcome. The one and only moderator, Jocabb. Welcome.
Thank you, Crispy. Thank you.
Yeah, man. It's great to have you. I think this episode kind of encapsulates a lot that I know about you, and I think this is going to be a really fun time of bringing these two worlds together. Just really quickly, what are your thoughts about, we know that YENA and BIBI are friends because of the show that they did, Girls High Mystery Class.
Right.
But, when you first saw them on the title, when it was released, what did you first think about that collaboration, knowing who they are separately?
I expected them to play into the role as oppositions of each other in a way, like they did, because they are so as polar opposite as they are, So yeah,
to me, I didn't know them as well as I do now. Just a week of consuming all things YENA and BIBI and combined, and it's kind of amazing that their friendship is so deep. I love it. But when I first saw it, I thought, oh, this is very opposites attract type situation. But it works out. I think it's just super fun. YENA debuts. It's a debut. I was gonna say come back, but solo debut with Smiley featuring BIBI. They covered it on the main show this week. They had some amazing things to say. Let's go over kind of what the crew talked about. Shout out to Anita. I hope you're feeling better and you're well. Yeah. But Doug and Warren did have to hold down the fort, and I think they did a nice job, at least with the metaphors. And
it was a good week to have them on as the primary girl group stands as well.
Yeah. It was nice that it worked out that way, where 3 girl group songs, and then 4 females to really focus on. But let's go into it a little bit. So Doug did mention that this song does the best of the Eyes One spin-offs, I would say, to be on brand with the kid. singing it.
Yes.
So Yena. What did you think about Doug kind of framing it that way?
I agreed with it. As I was listening to the main show, I was thinking, damn it, I wanted to have said that tonight here. so yeah, I agree a lot with that statement. This song, and especially music video, is Yena.
Well,
as I understand.
Yeah, take me through it. So, what's your history with Yena and IZ*ONE? What was your first kind of impression about her? And, what was your first, I guess, feelings about her as a character, as an idol, as a person of entertainment?
Right. Starting off with me and IZ*ONE, I was not a fan from the start. I guess I wasn't even really into K-pop when they weren't produced. So I was a little bit late to the party and watched Produce 48 after I started standing them. And my first impression of Yena was she was too loud. Like I was kind of annoyed by her stealing the spotlight from the other kids, but I guess she was just too young and didn't quite understand what her role was, how to be. But I've later grown to love her. She's great. But yeah, first impression, a little bit loud. She can still be loud and in your face, but yeah.
The duck, I guess, is what she's very much known for. I too was
happy virus.
Happy. I too was late to the party. I did not watch Produce 48, but I did like and enjoy IZ*ONE's music. Throughout their run.
Right.
I wasn't as embedded as the folks on the server. I know that we have a very strong IZ*ONE following. Strong, putting it very lightly. But very much being surrounded by IZ*ONE content and material and kind of just that type of conversation. And I did grow to have an affinity for them, right? Just because, you see a lot of positive conversation around it through the ups and downs of the history of the group. Some things happened, but I think the group gritted it out, and they finished their run. And I think we look back and we're pretty happy how it eventually turned out. But with that, I mean, it's done and it's over, and they had at least a year of pretty solid, consistent releases after the whole situation with them, right?
The rigging scandal.
Yeah, yes. The rigging scandal. But they did have the 1 year run after that where it's like, okay, it's still pretty solid. They're still getting music out and getting it out consistently, and doing great numbers. I think they ultimately were one of the top selling groups of the past year and a half, which is again remarkable, right? But to Yena, because I didn't know so much about her and IZ*ONE through their side content and just following them, this music video, this presentation gave me everything I needed to know about Yena. Kind of quirky, kind of weird, plays in a number of different genres, and with the contrast of her being such good friends with Bibi, putting Bibi on this song really kind of goes to show the spectrum of ways that she's accepted in entertainment, right? With the song itself, Warren did mention kind of the vocals and the happiness of the song. How did that all come off to you with the combination of the way she sings, very sweet, but also very, very bubbly and lively and just energetic? Because sometimes it could be a little too over the top in other cases, but in this case, to me, I felt like she did hit a nice balance. How do you feel like the cheese was played out for Yena?
I think it was perfect. Piggyback writing off something you said, I agree this was a perfect introduction to Yena if you didn't know her before. Which might be the case for people coming to this release from Bibi, which I guess is the case for some people, basically for you. But yeah, the song and her vocals were nice. Like I enjoy distinctive voices. Like, I prefer it to be quirky over perfect, which is why I sometimes dislike BTS and Hype and Big Hit and stuff like that, because they overproduce the vocals. But that's a side note. So yeah, that's the main reason I like a lot of the soloists that I enjoy, like Bibi, because it's just right from the start. It's so obvious that this is this girl singing. It can be no other. There's no one like her. And I feel that way about her low register, YENA's low register. And she can hit some pretty good high notes as well. So that's nice. Overall, she's a great performer. What can I say?
I want to kind of go off of what you said about the imperfections of singing and vocals, and kind of letting that play out, and that being a character within the character.
Right.
With Bibi and YENA specifically, they do it very differently, but you can tell that there's just a lot of theatrics in the way they sing, and I think with that imperfection, it really allows that to kind of shine through. With YENA, I think the upper and lower register, how she plays between both of those spectrums, is really unique. Because there's some times where I'm like, wow, she's really going for the Ariana Grande kind of breathiness, and then she kind of hits a little bit of a lower
last chorus. Oh,
right,
the ad libs.
Yeah, it's kind of. I think it's fairly unique in K-pop that she's allowed to have a little bit more creative freedom, or at least the production team gave her a little bit more space to play in. Right. Kind of using different metaphors. But then with Bibi, I think she's characteristically known as the sexual, sensual, alluring, mysterious person with kind of with lyrics that push the boundaries, but then also plays into it with how she makes herself appealing. What did you think about her being not just the character contrast, but the visual contrast and the story contrast to YENA in this music video?
How did I feel about it? In all honesty, I just enjoyed it. I know some people said it was too much, the contrast was too stark, but to me it was just nice. It helped balance each other out, and it made sense within the story, and yeah, it's well made, whoever came up with that.
Yeah, Warren put it best. They play with the frowniness, the devilishness, and Bibi is just another layer of the 3 cheese pizza. So thank you, Warren, for a second slice, a second piece of pizza for the month, because I think we've had 2 kind of amazing cheese pizza metaphors. Sorry for those Chicago pizza lovers out there. I like my pizza thinner, actually. So I feel you, Warren, on that one. But with Bibi, I think the sexy rapper with the duck, the YENA duck, it's just really fun. I think because I know Bibi, and I have a vague understanding and a vague, I guess, a vague knowledge of YENA and kind of what she's been known for. Seeing it now kind of in full force was I think just a really fun package. I think, like you said, being a person coming into it from the Bibi point of view, I think helps kind of expand what I hope and expect, and what I can get from K-pop. I guess the fun out of K-pop, right? Because I am coming at it from a far less knowledgeable point of view, and I'm very open to it. I think that is what's really important, kind of fun of everything. I'm just like really curious of how like these things happen, and I think it's just super fun when they do. Let's actually talk about Bibi for a second, because you and I both love her quite a bit. Jocabb, what is your origin with Bibi? How'd you meet? And when did the love affair first get started?
I don't think I was a fan quite from her performances on the show The Fan. But I remember watching all of those performances a lot quite early on. I think she debuted with her winning song. So yeah, I've been a fan of BB and kind of been it on my own on the server for quite a while until other people started picking her up. So yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I think.
I
Go ahead.
think I started watching her from a reaction video back when I watched a lot of K-pop reaction videos, like just a full playlist to just discover new stuff. That was kind of my entry into a lot of early K-pop for me.
Do you remember the
Yeah.
first song that stuck out to you?
That's definitely Blackpink. Do 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 do. In K-pop overall, if you ask about BB, then no. I want to say Binu actually.
Oh, freaking Binu. The visual of her rubbing her hands together will always be forever in my mind. But yes, for me, I think it was when we were hanging out in voice channel a lot, and I think you had played the Killing Voice for BB, and
Right.
I just like I stopped functioning, and I said, guys, I gotta go. I got a thing. I gotta watch this performance video 30 times now in a row, and I had that on loop for weeks and weeks and months and months, and still have it on loop. And that was when I was introduced to BB. I think that was sometime in 2020. So I was a little late to the party, definitely late, but I'm here, and I'm definitely still at the party. I will be the last one to leave the party. I will continue to buy shots. If you guys want shots, come over. I got you, no problem. And from there, I just went down the rabbit hole of all BB songs, just trying to see little snippets here and there of different things that she's in. Turns out she's very well known and well liked in Korea across all demographics, across all variety, which is amazing. I think in part it's the pushing the boundaries of R&B that the Korean public doesn't necessarily see all the time, but also the variety hosts and actors, comedians really know how to play and showcase with BB's character. And I think all of those things have culminated in her just being a very well received and well liked person across Korean entertainment. Let's go over some of her songs. So I'm going to group this as her trilogy of kind of disco retro songs at the end of 2021. We have The Weekend, which is a vibey collaboration with 88 Rising, Pado, which is kind of a summer playful song, and then I think it's YY with Tiger JK, and that is a pop kind of R&B song. What do you think about these songs being her current trend? And if people are looking for BB's music, is this a nice entry point for them?
I mean, yes, of course, it's a good entry. It's BB. I guess you might be surprised if this is what you know and you look up her older stuff, because she has definitely changed, while still keeping the same BB-ness to her music and her character. But yeah, now's a perfect time to get into BB, I'd say.
Yeah, I think the 88 Rising collaboration was the most surprising for me because the song itself fit everything I know about BB, but it does have a Western kind of polish to it, and it's something that's very accessible. I heard it the entire weekend, played just in the background at the Head in the Clouds festival. That was amazing. But I think people just ended up liking the song just because they heard it so much. But again, it's just so accessible. With Pado, I love the music video. The mermaid, it's kind of incredible. What would you do if you saw BB as a mermaid, Jocabb?
Die? Probably.
Would you die because you drowned trying to swim out to her?
Does the details matter?
With BB, no, it never really does, right? She really pushes your imagination in a lot of ways. But then let's get to kind of her album release, her EP, Life is a Bee. And well, to you, like, how is this kind of the more well-known sound, more familiar sound of what BB has done over the past few years?
This EP is a little weird in a way because she was in a bad mood for quite a while. She was sad. She was being, I guess, kind of cyberbullied actually. So this was kind of her reaction to all of that and the feelings that came from getting hate. So yeah, I I enjoy all the songs. I enjoy the feelings she portrays, but at the same time, when you force me to think about it, not so much.
Yeah,
You
no.
know?
I think that's a great point. That this is kind of her reaction, her expression of being cyberbullied. I think it's still very much a real thing that doesn't get talked about as often, as we would like to hope. Just because I think there is a cultural difference with how we in the West receive entertainment, whether that's just a translation, whether that's because it's a third party point of view. We're not in Korea, so it is very different for us. But again, I think it did create kind of a nice, well, not nice, but it created an experience for her to artistically express herself, which this
Right.
album is definitely. This album, I think, is a really great summary. I don't really like using that word, but a really nice way to say this is what BB has been about prior to this year of the pop songs that are very accessible, right? I think it's a little bit darker, it's edgy, it's weird. She plays with a lot of different themes, but I think this is a little bit closer to what she initially did a few years ago. I think 2018-19. Great album,
Yeah.
by the way. I think a very sleeper, one of the sleeper best albums, one of the sleeper my favorite albums of last year, at least.
Sure. Agreed.
And with albums, we're gonna circle back, we're gonna loop it back all the way to the wonderful, happy, smiley YENA, and let's talk about Smiley. The EP. Now we've got 5 tracks. We have Before Anyone Else, Smiley featuring BB, Luck to You, Pretty Boys, and Vacay. How did this album flow for you? How did it work for you, Jocabb? What are your just big picture takeaways with how you felt about how it all came together?
Regarding flow, first song is trash. Doesn't work with the rest of it. No. Yeah. No, but really, Before Anyone Else feels weird. And then the 4 others, it's nice. It works together, I feel like. They're different, of course, but close enough in mood and tempo. And yeah.
What about Before Anyone Else didn't work for you?
I want to say it feels Christmassy or wintry, and I guess maybe Yehua wanted to debut YENA a month earlier, and something just didn't work out because I don't see how this song really makes sense mid-January. It's too late in the season.
Yeah, I didn't know that actually. I think they did mention that in the show at some point that YENA was supposed to debut sooner, if I'm not mistaken. Someone had mentioned it because that does sound very familiar. Whether it's on the server, shout out to you, YENA Iceland fans. Right. Hello, thank you.
But I mean, when you have a song, might as well put it on the album. But at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah, no, all valid. Yeah.
Other than that, I feel like all the songs are quality. I like them. They're different genres, so if you like those, I assume you'd like these songs. But it feels like a sampler or like Yehua testing YENA's fans. Like, what did they actually like? What do we want to continue out of these 5 different moods?
Would you say it's a buffet?
Sure. A buffet of cheese.
Warren has seeped into our psyche. Thank you, Warren. Appreciate it. Yeah, to kind of go into like what you said about the songs and how they're all a bit different. I do feel like the first song is the most different because it is a very mellow R&B song. I think now that you say it, Christmas does definitely come to mind for me. But I was kind of comparing it to how Ariana Grande would start an album. Not to say that they sing the same, but it's the same where it's very vocal presence heavy. It's very mellow, very light. It's almost like an introduction song. But I think because the song is a full song, it did catch people a little off guard, or at least to me. I can see why hearing this song as a 3-minute song, followed by 4 other songs that are very high energy, high tempo, it is a bit jarring. But I do feel like it does capture the song in and of itself, in a vacuum, does capture this idea of romance very nicely and pushes that theme forward in a lot of different ways. Perhaps maybe style wise is a little bit too different, but I think the themes and the lyrics and the way that the way that she goes between her vocal registers is very similar to how the other songs played out as well. And then we did talk about Smiley a bit. How do you feel like Smiley fits in as the number 2 song on the album?
I feel like that's common. If you have a small album, a mini, I guess you could say, you have the title track as the number 2, and it's not really supposed to be in order. Like, it's not. You can scrabble. Wow, you can shuffle this album quite easily without really missing anything. I don't feel like this album was intended to be listened to in this specific order.
You can scrabble it too on Last FM if you'd like. We do.
I have been doing, yeah.
But that's a good point, right? Because I think it does play into, you can jump around between songs. There is an order to the songs, but I don't feel like you have to listen to it in that specific order. It does tell a narrative, but it's not a strict narrative, right? I think it's one of those where you can take and leave kind of the songs in order, or you can just listen to your favorite songs. I think that's kind of the beauty of this EP. Let's go into a little bit more detail about the other 3 songs on the album. So the number 3 track, Luck to You, Luck spelled LXXK. So a little bit of an edginess to it. What did you think about the upbeat pop rock sound of this song?
This was probably my favorite of the album, because of the rock elements. Yeah, something just worked. Like, she was scary good at portraying these feelings. I saw somewhere, I don't remember where, people saying this is worryingly well portrayed by her. Like, who hurt her? What happened? Where did these feelings come from, poor YENA? So yeah, that's kind of funny. Also, she did a stage for this at her debut show. Loved it. It was great. She's always great on a stage. She kind of had the BB dot on her cheek, but as a sad smiley. I found that kind of funny. How there's a connection there as well.
It's actually so cool that like so much of BB's personality and their friendship have now like melded into this like artistic expression of, I'm gonna do all the weird BB stuff in my way. In my like happy YENA, like kind of playful but now a little bit gritty way. Because I wouldn't say the song is gritty, but the song lyrically definitely tells you that she is done with you. Good luck to you, sir. I'm not going to waste my time with you anymore. Very self-empowered, but like it's a breakup, but it's only a bad breakup to you, because she is very happy with moving forward. Yes, I echo everything you say about just the energy of the song, the guitar and drum kind of being the underlying kind of instruments throughout. And I think it's a nice, well, because Smiley is already kind of upbeat, but I think it's a nice way to maintain the tempo of the album with a different genre. And I think, like you said, still playing with this idea of, hey, YENA fans, what do you like? You like the Smiley Western pop song? Or you want the upbeat, kind of edgier lyrically, but still pop rockiness of Luck to You? And I think it's really interesting that you say that she plays into the role of moving on from a relationship really well. And it also makes me question, it's like, who did hurt her? But I think she's
also just be Ice One disbanding and her being able to portray those feelings into a relationship kind of thing.
Jocabb with the metaphors.
Yeah.
Deep. Love it. I feel it. All right. Well, let's move on to number 4 with Pretty Boys. This is an upbeat disco synth inspired track. So again, another genre shift. How do you feel like this song, now being the 4th song and another genre shift, played out for you within the context of the album?
I feel like, I don't know if it's a slower song, but it feels slower or more down tempo, mellowed out than a lot of the rest of the album. Other than the quite upbeat la da dee dee da dee da or something like that part. And I like her attitude, I guess, in the rap part. But other than those 2 fun elements, this is kind of a meh song for me. Which is funny because I saw a lot of people like it actually. So
yeah, no, I think what you said about it playing into different waves of emotions is interesting, right? Where it's a disco upbeat song, but it has definitely valleys, right? But then it peaks again into very characteristic K-pop tropes, with the chorus going at the okay, I wrote it down. I'm not singing it. I'm not singing it. Go listen to it. It's amazing. And then I think what really like drives it home as this being kind of a cheese K-pop song, probably a little too cheesy for me, is the lyrics. I think it's "Oh kitty kitty with sweet words" is the translation for the bridge. Because when I heard it, I was like, this sounds like it's super cheesy. And so I went into the lyrics and I saw it. I was like, yep, okay, sick.
Never look up K-pop lyrics.
Yeah,
it's always cheesy, cringy.
But there's certain songs where you feel like when you hear it, it's like, oh, okay, it works. But then with the Pretty Boys, I felt it. I felt like, oh, there's going to be some level of cheese to this, because not only is she saying, toxic relationships and not being fooled by what's outside, but she's essentially saying because they're pretty boys. That's not something you usually say in Western culture, not something typical, right? You say like handsome or what other like characteristics of or adjectives are used? Just like the toxic masculine type of thing, right? You wouldn't necessarily say pretty as a precursor to something to look out for or to watch out for. But yes, I think this song is a nice sampler, like you said, of upbeat disco synth retro. I liked it initially, but I do feel like I like other songs on the album more.
Right.
I think just having listened to it a lot, it's
one
just
of the songs. It's one of the songs you grow tired of first, I feel like.
Yeah. I think the initial newness was exciting, but then having listened to it a number of times, I do find myself liking Smiley and Luck to You far more. Yeah. Let's move on to track number 5 with Vacay. So interesting that you said that Pretty Boys was a disco song that had its valleys. I think Vacay is a disco song that is muted completely. And very similarly to how Warren described muted disco. So this is not like a negative towards it, but I think this is a different take on disco in the sense that you don't have the high, big crescendos of K-pop, but you keep everything kind of at a vibe, at a minimal. But you're still using disco, right? How did this song work for you?
I liked it a lot. Generally, I like rock and funk elements in K-pop quite a lot, and this had the funk. Something about a bass line was just nice. And I liked how choppy the vocals were in the chorus. Like the way she sang it just forces you to bob your head along to it, if you know what I mean. So that was yeah, no, I want to go into that. Well, I was going to say what I was going to say. So the choppiness, I loved it. It felt like the instruments complemented her singing in a way where it like punched every lyric. Right.
And it's like, oh, this is super fun. But then also the song itself is very mellow. And then the funk was really like threaded throughout the song. So a really nice kind of balance between all the different styles in the song. And I think it does play into disco a little better than Pretty Boys, where I think Pretty Boys is still in very much the K-pop realm of disco. This is kind of in a different realm. Yeah, I'm just saying different things now. But yes, Vacay, very fun, very mellow, very chill. Very nice end cap to the EP, I think is also very important, right? Because you do want to kind of end it in a different mental space than you would just a high energy crescendo, right? I think this is a nice way to kind of think, we're going on vacation now, and we're gonna just chill and relax and enjoy our time with YENA. Yeah. Any closing thoughts on the EP and how it all worked for you?
Only thing in mind would be maybe talking about the music video a little bit more and asking you if you think there's like a story to it other than just them having fun.
Yeah, no.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
because it feels quite like I don't want to say superficial, but it doesn't feel very deep. Like it's just YENA is making people happy at this diner. Bibi is making them sad again. So YENA is defeated and in the snow. But then the little boy gives her microphone back, and she comes back as a rock star. That's like the 5 main elements of the music video, right? And I'm thinking, that's so silly. Like, that doesn't make sense. Until I realized that the little boy helping her is probably a metaphor for her fans and how she will do what she can to make people happy, especially her fans, but will need a little bit in return when times are tough. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, no, you captured that really excellently, I'd say. I think with K-pop, you do want a visual product, whether that's the music video or any visual things that accompany it, to be fairly simple for those who just want to consume it on the surface, right? And I think this is a nice job of doing that. Again, it goes into introducing YENA to a brand new audience. And I think we immediately know that she's just this weird, quirky, bubbly person who, you know, shout out to the choreography also, because they do a lot of mic stand choreography, very Western pop, Demi Lovato, Miley Cyrus. To me, it works because I think she plays into the bit a little bit really well. But I think the deeper levels that you kind of went into are very much, I think, are very much part of YENA as well, because of the history that we know about her, that I was enlightened to this week, of her past, her having lymphoma, I believe, as a child, and, you know, kind of seeing every day as a gift, you know, understanding that you have good days, you have bad days, but it's really up to you. And the only thing that you have control over is your agency to respond to your environment with those bad days, right? I think it's very easy to get into the trappings of being pouty and kind of being what Bibi represents, and then having that negativity affect everyone else around you, right? Or you can kind of be like YENA and say, you know, life is ups and downs. You know, she goes to the diner and she sees people in conflict, a lot of friction, but she does what she can to have a net positive effect on their experience, whatever it is, right? But then it flips, and I think this is a nice visual cue. It's that the you're seeing her through screens throughout different parts of the music video, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of CCTVs.
Yeah, so it's the audience seeing her through a screen, right? So it's what we see of her, and then when it kind of pulls into her own reality, into her own point of view, yes, she can be very up and happy as often as she can, but she is human, and sometimes the snow will drag her down, and she needs a moment to kind of reflect and think about why she's doing all this. And I think what you said about the kid being the analog for us as fans is very pointed. And I think it's very cute, right? Because it's all done in this way where it's a very fun visual presentation. It's not super heavy. It's not super dark. I think a nice comparison this week is the Taeyeon song. Great song, great music video. A little dark, a little heavy. This very light, but I think also has a very similar theme of looking beyond what you see on the screen. And even if someone's presenting themselves as very happy, very full of energy, full of life, that they can be bogged down sometimes. And they kind of just need that reminder to be picked up. And she is acknowledging that as much as she wants to give to her fans give her a lot in return. Yeah, I think a lot of layers, but again, it's what you take from it. You don't necessarily have to see all these layers. I think it's just super fun to begin with. But I think you starting off and saying that there are metaphors to this really helps frame it for me, and kind of seeing the depths of what YENA has actually offered us in this one release. And I kind of love it. And I am a fan. Definitely. Nice. So I'd like to thank you for not only introducing Bibi, but now expanding that and giving me this extra layer of YENA energy to kind of go into my life. What is happening? K-pop is fun. We love K-pop. We have a good time here. All right. Jocabb, let's get into some closing thoughts. I haven't talked to you since I think maybe November when we did Wiki Mickey. We love them. Yoojung is very cute. Doyeon, I think, is all healed up now, but her promotions are over. So hopefully she just does something else. How have you been since then?
I mean, I was going to say good, but I was sick for 5 days of last week. So I guess maybe not. But yeah, I'm over that. I'm fine again. It wasn't COVID. So lucky me. Just a normal old boring virus or something.
It's a normal flu,
Yeah, how boring.
Oh, geez. Who even are you? Are you even sick? No, but
not even the newest model. What is this?
You're getting last year's trend. I don't know what we're saying anymore. But yes, I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better. That it was only a minor flu, because it does feel like this Omicron is getting everyone, which is kind of wild.
I heard Omicron isn't affecting people's taste buds as much, so I'm not as scared, because not being able to taste my food, that's worse than losing an arm, low key.
I feel
it sounds so boring.
I feel that pain. I mean, it's very on brand with us, considering we use food metaphors all the time. Imagine Warren, not saying Warren, sorry, not saying that you should get Omicron, but imagine you losing your taste buds. How would your metaphors work? Would that psychologically affect your ability to come up with these amazing metaphors? Are we no longer going to have Chicago deep dish pizza cancellations? What is happening? But yes, I that is a very curious thought if Warren ever lost his taste buds, not from COVID. Just if you lost them naturally, I would be very sad for you as well. Yeah. How's your New Year? How is going? Well, I think we're past New Year's far enough, but how has the start of your year gone for you? And kind of what's your outlook so far? We're about a month into the year now, so I think we're
that's crazy.
Slowly getting through 2022.
Right. Right before New Year's, I was in school for a little bit, for a couple months, I guess, and now I'm back working at my firm. So that's kind of a stark contrast. And honestly, I just kind of want it to be spring now, because working outside in the mud and the snow, I could do without it. So. Yeah, not too big on the new year. It hasn't really started for me, if that makes sense.
Still very much winter. And December, January is essentially one long month. I feel that. For me, it's January 19th, but it does feel a little slow. I'm grateful. I hope it slows down. I hope it slows down more in the sense that I don't want the year to go by too fast. But I want and this is me being extremely selfish, I understand it to be an ideal time of the year, so like spring, like you said, but then that's just stop. It's no more year. Like, give me sunshine, give me relatively warm weather that's not too hot, and just stop right there. God, I am very big. I'm very selfish, and just I'm that will never happen. I know it's all about a point of view, but that's where I'm at. As far as
because if you move a lot, north and south all the time, it'll be kind of spring-y all the time.
That's very true.
Possibly.
It's funny that you bring that up because I have a lot of millennial friends and just people on the internet. It's become a very big trend that because people have been remote working over the past year and a half, that they have just been nomads. And that sounds
cool.
Not like van nomads, but like people will do their job, whatever it is that's remote, and then just live in a different state, different country, but then just have to wake up at working hours wherever they need to do. So
that might be rough with time zones, yeah.
Yeah. So if your company is like in California, but then you move to New Zealand for 3 months, I mean, I guess it's a sacrifice to live in New Zealand for 3 months, but something to adjust to for sure. It's maybe I would do that. I don't know. It all depends on the type of work. A lot of the jobs right now are opening up to hybrid for a lot of California, like office jobs, where you know, they assign you a computer. You work 3 days at home, 2 days in the office. And I think as soon as, when Omicron calms down, people get less sick, I think that's actually going to be the plan beginning February, March for a lot of companies. And then showing proof of vaccination is a must. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like offices here as well, and the hybrid stuff. Because, of course, people want to pay less rent for smaller offices. And if you have less people in at all times, plus, you can do a lot of your work from home, and sometimes even better than from the office.
Yeah.
I know it's not the case for some people. Therese on the server has been complaining about working from home. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it all depends on circumstance, situation. I think me personally, I like not having to travel to commute to work.
Right.
But I also like the idea of having a specialized focused place to work, which is like an office, a desk, right?
A workaround that has been for many people to set up an office somewhere else in their house, like not your gaming or K-pop computer that you're at right now, but like an actual office setting somewhere else without Avatar: The Last Airbender behind you and all those things.
Yeah. People have set up like their garages, guest rooms, different places. In the Bay Area, there are dedicated workspaces that you could rent out, like a desk for a certain number of hours in a month. I looked them up. Some of them are quite expensive because I guess they assume that every tech person is a 6-figure engineer. It's like, okay, cool. But it really just depends. Like, you have to like search around. But I do also feel like those high prices are for people who work in startups who just have, I mean, not like a lot of capital, but essentially can like bill that to whoever's funding them. I don't know if I just made any sense there. I might have just butchered everything I just said.
I get the gist of it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think there are some workarounds to working from home. Yeah, I think it's just overall nice to just be outside. Yeah. I think it's I think we all just need to be outside a little bit more. Yeah. It's my thing. I've been out in nature a lot, hiking, seeing the world. I think that's helped my time on the internet be more purposeful and joyful. I think when I am on Discord and the internet, I find a lot of happiness on there because I'm making a clear separation of this is my life on Discord, but I also am outside and seeing the world and seeing people again safely thankfully. And I think I'm able to better enjoy whether it's K-pop, video games, movies, things that are like technology based, because I'm able to balance that out. I think it's been really helpful over the past couple of months, even in December. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Jocabb, any closing thoughts? Any words of wisdom you like to give to the Soju Talk Nation?
A little bit of a flex, I guess. Actually, since this is the YENA episode, I believe I have a signed album by her.
You might as well have given her a hug. You might as well have talked to her face to face, essentially.
Right. That's how signed albums work. Yes.
Yeah, you have something that she physically interacted with, and that she essentially hand gave you. Can't see my hands in the shot.
Honestly, I kind of think it was an intern that wrote it, but
headcanon. No, that's a great flex. Which album is it?
One Reeler.
Nice.
The Panorama album, I guess you could call it.
Should take a pen. Okay, I'm not gonna sing. I have a bad habit of doing that, where it's like I want to sing something, but that I know that it sounds excruciatingly jarring and bad. So yeah.
Right. I mean, you're the editor of this podcast, right? So you can just put in the original and like, yeah, that's me, guys. I'm so good.
Totally, yeah. It's always another girl. Yeah, Yena, Joe Yuri. You hear my voice. Hear all the things. But no, this is a radio show. We don't edit here. We just let it ride. That's kind of the fun that I have with this show. Is we're still recording. We're just gonna keep this going. My big picture dream is that we have a studio and we run this like a radio show. That's how I would love it to be.
Right.
If we could do like a Soju Talk Studios, I would move to New York. I would move to the East Coast, wherever you're at, Warren. I'll follow you. You guys do the main show, and then I'll hop on afterwards. I'll do like another show, an after show, like Dive Studios. We'll do something similar to that. But I love the idea of it being a radio show, where you get to improv, you prep what you can, but then you don't edit. You just let it ride. I think that's super fun too.
A little bit of a bummer. There's 9,500 kilometers between the two of us, so I might not be able to come.
Might being the key word. No,
right.
The future is always in motion. You never know. What if something happens and you get sponsored something? I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
If I go on a vacation to California,
if you go on a vacay,
right? Sure. Fuck. God. Yes.
To be fair, Dive Studios has a Korea office and LA studio. So there you go. Yeah. Speaking of Dive
Both
Studios,
are equally far away from me in the middle, but yes.
Yeah. Very true. We're gonna end it on this. I have been following all of Ashley's things. I just want to say to you all, I rarely comment on anything that an idol posts, whether that's their Instagram or their YouTube, just because I just don't, right? For some reason, I saw these pictures that she actually put up of Jeju Island, Jeju-do, and I just commented, "Oh, is this where you're quarantined?" With the exclamation and question marks. Within the hour, she replies back, "No, haha, I wish." And I was like, "Oh my God, she's talking to me." Oh my God, guys. It's like I know Ashley. It's like we're just texting now. Oh my God. It's like we're friends. I freaked out. I died. I could not function it was in the evening. It was like 5 p.m. The entire rest of the night, I was done. I posted the screenshot of it, guys, on the Discord. It is in Hall of Spice. Thanks to Therese for starting that crown. I honestly don't know any. I didn't know anything at that point. My brain.
Understandable.
Yeah. So, Ashley, if you ever hear this, just know you're welcome. Maybe not to the small show, the after show, but the Soju Talk K-pop podcast has a pretty wide international audience. I'm sure a lot of your fans would appreciate what they have to say. Doug, Warren, and Anita are excellent hosts. They can give you some insights into how they grew up with K-pop, as well as how they saw Ladies Code and your music and your influence. I'm selling Ashley. I don't know if she'll ever hear this, but man, I just feel a kind of way. Like Ashley's just one of those influencers, entertainers, former idols that I just love and adore. Anyways,
right.
Anyone like that for you?
Not in the same way, I don't think. No.
Ask. All right, Jocabb, this was a pleasure. This was an excellent time. I really appreciate you coming on. It's always fun just hanging out and kicking it with you. So, let's sign out. Let's get out of here. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Soju Sessions on the Soju Talk Nation K-pop podcast feed. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and continue the conversation on the Soju Talk K-pop podcast Discord. For Jocabb, this is Crispy, and this has been the Soju Sessions.